We make sure that we present it to the people who are qualified, who need our services, and we don't try to disguise it as something that it's not. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make dollars. We're actually getting into F1.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure they're going to be the number one team, but I think they're going to be competing very aggressively. We took this approach, which combines F1 and the glamour of Monaco. We parked a supercar on a super yacht.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of FinanceFeeds Podcasts. My name is Nikolai Isayev. I'm editor-in-chief of FinanceFeeds. Joining me today is Marios Chailis.
That's right.
Who is Group Chief Marketing Officer at Libertex globally. Marios, thanks for joining us today. I know you have a very busy schedule, but I'm glad that you could find time to speak with us today.
No, thank you for having me. It was great timing. As you know, I'm flying out tomorrow. I was only in town for a few days, and it's great to be able to catch up.
Well, thank you. I want to jump right in since we don't have that much time. I want to talk about today's young trader generation, right? I think we could all agree that today's traders are younger. They're digital natives, so to say, and they're community driven, right? They flock like a herd, and everybody's basically trying to catch information wherever they can to see what kind of what kind of opportunities they can find in the markets.
Sure.
I wanted to ask, in terms of your role and Libertex in general, what have you done on the marketing or let's say the product side to kind of really engage with this set of younger traders, younger generation today?
That's a pretty good question. So I'm going to break it down in a couple of parts. Yes, obviously traders skew younger. I've been doing this for a few years. I've been in the CFD industry, I think close to more than 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Actually, 2004, so 21 years.
Wow, you beat me, 2006.
All right. So what I've noticed, especially as technology evolved and it became more mobile-centric, the Libertex was positioned very well at that time. We were one of the first companies that launched a mobile-first approach, and that was, I think, 9 years ago. Whereas a lot of our competitors were still promoting, the traditional platforms, which we also offer, MT4, MT5, and so on, CTrader. However, the fact that we did launch and focused to be mobile-first, it gave us an edge starting 9-10 years ago, which helped us gather a lot of data, understand what this native or a younger crowd is expecting from a broker, from a platform. And we've been using that data ever since to evolve the product, add features that they like, and really make sure that they're satisfied with our product offering, with their trading experience. And that sort of trickles down into those communities that you mentioned. So the feedback from the traders based on their experience, based on our product, is what helps us position it. And then, of course, it's not the only thing that's going to get you through the door. You need to spend money on marketing, on acquisition, make sure the message is out there, the brand is visible. But if the brand is supported by positive feedback from the traders in those communities, then, of course, it helps you grow and be a leader rather than someone following the trends in the industry.
It's interesting that you took this approach, like you said, 9 years ago. I wonder what has happened so far. I mean, over that long period of time. I ask because I feel like, again, if we're talking about 20-something-year-olds, and if we're talking about people in the Western world, it seems to me like they want things to be overly simplified, right? They don't want things to maybe be very complex. But again, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Has the mobile trading experience at Libertex kind of taken a natural progression in that route? Or is it more so, like you said, data-driven, where you see people actually using, let's say, charting or technical analysis within the mobile platform to make their trading decisions?
All right. So we need to sort of separate the different groups of traders. There's different segments. We can't just bundle everybody under this younger, tech-savvy kind of approach.
Okay.
Traders do, skew younger.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about 20-year-olds. We're still a CFD broker.
Uh-huh.
It's leverage trading. There is some risk involved, obviously. So most of our traders are not that young.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are in their 20s, but not early 20s. We
Okay.
don't have like 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds.
Okay.
That segment of traders exist, but I would say they tend to flock towards more of the crypto trading, stuff that
Uh-huh.
we don't have. It's something different. There is a crossover once they start realizing that, okay, maybe that's not really for me. Maybe I need something that's a bit more structured, a bit more regulated.
Sure.
So then there is a crossover. So at that point, I think they already had some experience. They've looked at the industry. They did some research. They familiarized themselves with a bit, not just what's hot and what's trending and
Yeah.
what they see online, but what works for them. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's our sweet spot. So we don't try to target every single person that wants to open a trade.
Sure.
We sort of stay away from that just because our product is not for everybody.
Okay.
We make sure that we present it to the people who are qualified, who need our services,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't try to disguise it as something that it's not.
Okay. Interesting. Cool.
So
And in terms of the traders that are, let's say, more sophisticated or people that are older,
Yeah.
right? What have you seen in terms of the data and over the years? How has the mobile trading experience evolved for them?
So, I mean, especially in this day and age, it's quite an interesting question because a lot of AI tools, and we've been rolling out some, help people, even though they might not have a lot of experience understanding, a really complex chart.
Yeah.
We have AI tools that can help them look at the chart,
Mhm.
but also, decipher it for them.
I
It
see.
just explains what it is. Because a lot of these charts are quite complex. It's not just looking at candlesticks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things there
Mhm.
that someone who hasn't been really doing it for a long time, especially on a mobile device,
Yeah.
might find challenging. So we added that layer. At the same time, our platform can also be mirrored on your browser, on your desktop. So if you need a bigger screen to look at the charts and really go into it, we advise that.
Mhm.
We added a lot of features over the years. Obviously, the current version of the platform is something we've been building and perfecting
Of course.
for the last several years.
Uh-huh.
So there's a lot of this functionality that's built in,
Mhm.
and it really helps. At the same time, we do offer MT4, MT5 for those super specific traders that want to have that experience, which is slightly different from the mobile version.
Mhm.
So we try to cater for everybody, and we make it simple to change between platforms, see their trades anywhere they want, and have the experience that they need. It's really sort of tailor-made for everybody.
Mhm. I think that's really cool because I feel like the approach that you took many years ago is not an approach that other companies took. And I just remember, even from my own personal experience, struggling to kind of find the right tools to present to people to trade on
Yeah.
a mobile device. Because this is around the time when iPads, iPhones, Samsungs, all of these things, all these devices became more and more popular. And if we looked at internal statistics, we would probably see this skew, right, from
Yeah.
desktop and web going to mobile. And it's like, okay, well, we have to do something because there's more and more people engaging on the mobile devices, and
For sure.
obviously they're going to continue to increase.
As an acquisition platform, you
Mhm.
can't beat mobile.
Mhm.
Mobile traffic is, the CMO is going to speak a little bit now, a little bit
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
acquisition. Mobile traffic is generally cheaper to buy
Uh-huh.
than desktop traffic. So
Mhm.
starting with that, you have a slight advantage.
Okay.
Also, mobile users, you can reach them anywhere, not just when they're sitting in front of their computer.
Uh-huh.
So readily available,
Uh-huh.
24 hours a day. All the big networks, all the big publishers, let's talk Google, Meta, and so on.
Mhm.
They give you a phenomenal ability to target the specific segments, the specific types of users, demographic, whatever that you're after. And you can present a very targeted, very specific message based on their requirements.
Mhm.
So by doing that, the easiest path, if they're on their mobile device, is to take them to an app store to download an app. That's their first interaction.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that their first experience dealing with your company is a positive one.
Yeah.
And then you can use that positive experience and present them the additional options.
Mhm.
So yes, maybe they'll open an account through the mobile app. They'll trade a bit. They'll realize maybe it's not exactly what they need,
Mhm.
but then they have the option with the same account to trade on any other, let's say, traditional platform that we offer. And, that's it. We just need to make sure the first interaction, the first experience is a positive one, that they get the information they need, they see all the necessary bits of data that helps them. And from then it's up to them how to trade and where to trade.
Right, absolutely. I think that's a very important point that you made. The first point of contact that you have with them is utterly important. And I would venture to guess that wherever you put a button on a landing page, however many centimeters it is from here to there, is also important, because
The user interface plays a huge role,
Uh-huh.
design, UX, UI.
Yeah.
But the customer experience, is something beyond that. It's, and the push notifications that you get, the emails that you get. If you need customer support, if you have a question, a technical question, how does that get resolved? How quickly? We've added a lot of AI tools to, search bots and all that on the site and on the app to help people get the information they need, even before they fund an account or trade or whatever, while they're still considering to become a potential customer. They have questions. People want to know stuff. They want to understand what's going on, how you do this, how you do that.
Yep.
They want to have comfort. So we try to cater to that. And, if everything goes well, then people proceed to open an account and fund it and so on.
Sure. Yep. My next question revolves around really your global marketing role. I mean, I would argue that financial marketing or marketing financial products is often very much constrained around the world by regulation. And I wanted to ask you, in your global marketing role yourself, how do you keep marketing campaigns engaging and emotionally engaging, let's say, and creative in many different countries,
Sure.
while still really staying compliant? Because we all know that, um, disclaimers and the way that you present information today is often
Oh, it's
highly scrutinized.
it's a huge challenge.
Mhm.
So, like you said, in my role as the group CMO, I oversee, I would say, a pretty diverse number of entities under our umbrella.
Yeah.
So obviously we have our European entity, we have offshore entities. The group holds around 12 different regulatory licenses around the world. So different business units work in the local jurisdictions, dealing with different regulators. And even though most of them have different requirements for advertising,
Yeah.
we sort of tend to adhere, I would say, on the stricter side, just to make sure that as a group, we do the utmost we can to be as close to the regulation, not only in the individual countries, but globally, to make sure that we're in line with what we expect of ourselves to, so, I think everybody knows the most challenging region right now, at least from the ones that we operate in,
Yeah.
is the European region. It's becoming, I would say, on one hand, more challenging every year, just because regulation keeps evolving. You need to be on top of things. You need to be familiar with all the changes. You need to work very closely with your compliance department to make sure that all the material that is published is accurate and also not misleading or anything like that. But at the same time, you also need to police any potential partners. In some places we have some affiliates. We need to make sure that the content they're using is 100% material that is generated by us, is approved by our compliance. So there is a little bit of policing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the product needs to be compliant as well. As an example, in France, as you know, the trading requirements by the local regulator are different than other parts of Europe. So even though France is in the EU, is under ESMA, on a European level, the local regulator has the option, as many do, to restrict or change the way the product is presented to customers, the risk disclaimers and all that. So it is a lot of work. We have, other group entities that operate in other parts of the world, is a little bit more straightforward. But we do try to adhere to very similar principles, just to make it easier for our marketing department to produce the materials, the marketing materials, and also to avoid any issues. Because operating a global brand, customers, even though, we try to make it very clear, sometimes they don't realize that, okay, I'm based in this country, I open an account under this entity, they still want to complain to a different regulator if they feel, it's going to help them get justice or whatever they feel was they were treated unfairly. And that creates a lot of confusion. So we try to make sure everything is consistent, so that if a complaint comes up, we can also demonstrate to the regulator in any country that we've done everything that's required from us, and with no ill intent to the customers.
And sometimes more, right? Because it's like, well, in a particular locality, let's say, or country, there might not be these requirements. Sounds like you guys have a certain benchmark within marketing and compliance to say, okay, 100%. We're not going to go and be, let's say, more aggressive than. I'm speaking obviously hypothetically here, but you know what I mean.
Well, I think we can be a bit more direct.
But you know what I mean, right?
I know exactly what you mean. I think
we're not going to pursue this marketing campaign because it's a little bit too aggressive, and maybe
let's be clear. One of the reasons why we're currently facing so much scrutiny from regulators, which is completely justified, is because up until a few years ago, there was a very high number of, I would call them, bad operators that really did a number on the whole industry. So those kind of companies have been operating in a very aggressive way, with no regulation or minimal, regulation. And it damaged the whole industry. They were, predatory companies, they were aggressive companies, misleading companies, and that pushed regulators to take action, which is absolutely fine for companies that operate within regulation. So we're fine with that. But I know a lot of companies and a lot of brands that a lot of them are no longer around, but they caused some of this with their own behavior, and that had to stop. And we totally support that, and we totally understand that. And just because we operate completely dissimilar to that and very far away from that, we welcome regulation, and we try to get it wherever we can. So even in places where maybe there's no it's not mandatory to register. Maybe we don't even onboard customers in those regions. If there is a regulation that is suitable for our industry, we will pursue it. We will speak to the regulator. We'll apply. I can tell you right now, I think we have additional 5 or 6 licenses that are in process, applied.
Wow.
We have some in the Middle East coming up. We have some in Latin America. A couple of them already got approved. So we are proceeding as much as we can with regulation, because that's the way forward. And we totally want to be in line with what the future holds.
You're taking a proactive approach.
Yeah.
I mean, the regions that you mentioned are I would say the next leading regions for our industry in terms of market share and things like that. So
I mean, we're still very focused on our European business because it's been a good market for us over the last several years. But as it is becoming more and more challenging to operate, you might know, for example, that Spain has restricted advertising for any kind of leveraged product. So just because it was very difficult to operate and advertise in Spain, we decided to withdraw from the Spanish market. We completely shut it down. We don't onboard any new customers. We don't advertise there. And we took a similar approach after Brexit in the UK. We used to operate there under a European license. We applied for an FCA license after Brexit, but I think so many companies applied at the same time. The FCA was, I would say, overwhelmed with applications, and I don't think they drastically increased the headcount that was processing.
Proportionately, right?
Yeah, I don't
handle all of that.
To be honest, I don't think they did. So it took a couple of years for them to get back to us, give us feedback.
Years,
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, we were in touch. We were submitting all the steps, but actual meetings and actual processing of our application took, I would say, a long while. And then it was also a requirement that in the meantime, without onboarding business, right, without conducting business in the UK, you need to maintain a full office, hire all the directors, all the staff. Whereas the requirement before was different. You could identify the individuals, make them an offer, and once you get granted a provisional license, then you can start onboarding and renting an office. So
start incurring major expenses.
But at the time was, okay, guys, we'll see, you need to do this, you need to do that. In the meantime, have an overhead of several million pounds a year without doing any business until we figure out, if we're going to do it or not.
Sure.
At that point, we thought, you know what, maybe the timing is not right. Maybe they're still a bit overwhelmed with Brexit. And we decided to withdraw from the UK as well. So we don't onboard customers from the UK. We totally blocked the United Kingdom as a option for registration, just because it was a challenge. So these kind of things, I think the regulators need to work to improve as well.
Sure.
You know, the onboarding. You know, we're willing to work under your license. We're willing to work with you to do business in the proper way. But they have to also understand that we're a business, and to operate, we need things to be done in a quick manner. Otherwise, it doesn't make business sense.
Yeah, absolutely right.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make dollars.
Yeah.
Euros.
It's a business. It's a business. Yeah, it's a business. I mean, you're absolutely right. If the overhead is too much, or if there's so much, I wouldn't say scrutiny, but again, if you have to wait years to get approval, or at least to have your application be reviewed and things like that, and like you said, you have to start incurring costs, it just, to me, financially, it just doesn't necessarily make sense.
Exactly.
And with other regions where, let's say a broker operates and then all of a sudden says, you know what, no, we're actually going to leave this region, I completely understand that happens really every year with many different companies.
Like you said, it's a business. There's no space for egos,
Yeah, absolutely.
I know some companies, and maybe some people in the industry, a lot of their decisions are based on ego. Oh, I want to be in that market. I want to be the biggest in that market.
Sure.
But
I mean, that's not really a very rational business decision.
It's not. And especially going back to the example of the UK.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting market. It's a very mature market. The FCA has been a great regulator for a long time, and we have to acknowledge all the great things they're doing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's some amazing companies, our competitors, who are based in the UK. Some of them are publicly traded.
Yes, we all know who they are.
Yeah, we all know who they are.
Yeah.
And I give them props because they did a great job. They have a great product. And so what that means is I would need to incur that cost of waiting around until I get the regulation. Then I need to spend a lot more money to try and take market share from those really good competitors that are operating there.
Yep.
Like I said. So then it's a business decision. Does it make sense to invest this amount of time, this amount of resources, money, whatever, just to be in a position 3 years down the line to compete in a very, very competitive market? At that time, it didn't make sense for us. I mean, we still like the UK, and maybe one day, if the process is a bit more straightforward and a bit faster, we're always open to revisiting the idea of applying again for a new license and penetrating the market. But for the time being, it just didn't make sense, and that sort of pushed us into some of these international markets that we've been talking about, because there is much more straightforward. They're more business friendly, faster to launch your business and to grow.
Of course. It's an interesting topic that we discussed, because there's some people that I talk to within the industry who are saying sooner or later, some of these jurisdictions that are, let's say, heavily regulated, and these individual countries, like you said, France, Spain, traditionally they've had their own local rules for companies, but also for the traders, right? I mean, if you are a resident of France, you are subject to those rules, and hence, you could be offered these financial products at a certain leverage or without leverage, et cetera, et cetera. Some people are arguing behind the scenes that there's only so long that this could keep happening, because ultimately those restrictions they're not going to make the market dry up, but eventually the regulators will have to ease some of these restrictions to kind of,
I think,
let investors choose for themselves.
I think in some cases it's already pushing customers offshore, and maybe it's even pushing customers to some jurisdictions and some entities that they shouldn't be dealing with.
Questionable ones, right?
Questionable ones, predatory ones, because the demand is there, and the local regulators need to recognize that. They are doing a good job from the data that they have to restrict, but they also need to understand that those restrictions apply to people like us, like companies like us, who want to follow the rules. The shady operators, the ones that don't follow the rules from day one, they're just going to bypass it in the same way they've been doing.
And those investors are going to get burned by those companies.
Exactly.
And going to make things worse.
Unfortunately, I have no control over individual investors in other countries, especially in places where we don't operate.
Yeah.
What we can do is just make sure in the places we are operating. We do the best as per local regulation, and you do our part. But we cannot police the whole industry, unfortunately.
Of course. In talking about expansion and things like that, Libertex Group recently launched a new brand. I think it's called LBX.
It is.
Which is operated in Mauritius.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what was the thinking behind launching this brand, and what specific, let's say, customer segments or market gaps does LBX sort of fill and or help?
Okay. So LBX is a nice 3-letter brand name. The domain is lbx.com, which again, it's a very nice, easy to remember domain.
Yeah.
But it is also an evolution of Libertex.
Okay.
LBX, Libertex.
Yep.
The brand sort of serves 2 or 3 different requirements for us, and it was a decision. The original plan at some point a few years ago, because we've owned this domain for a while, was to maybe rebrand Libertex and eventually evolve it into LBX.
Okay.
And at the time, the thinking was a more of a all-in-one trading super app, which a lot of companies are doing these days.
I can see it.
However, as time passed, we identified some other issues that we wanted to address.
Okay.
And the launch of LBX sort of helped us do that. Number one was that our existing infrastructure for Libertex was already out on the market for a while, and it was feeling a bit, not dated, but it is what it is. It's, let's say, worked in.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you could go through the trouble of launching something brand new under the existing brand and then trying to migrate customers, trying to explain to everybody, it's like the old thing, but it's a new thing. It's better. It's this and that. Yeah. But at the same time, there is a lot of arguments to be made that migration cost and resources from an IT perspective, marketing perspective, that you need to put into a project like that.
Yep.
If you invested in just building the new brand separately, it might pay more dividends down the line.
Sure.
So that was another decision. And then the last thing was that we were operating the Libertex brand in, like I said, many different jurisdictions.
Yeah.
Obviously, our European brand is Libertex under European regulation, but we were also operating in other countries, some places in Latin America and so on, where Spanish is also the primary language. And that caused a lot of confusion with the European regulator. For example, they would see something in Spanish, advertising in Spanish, under different regulatory requirements because it was aimed at Latin America.
Yeah.
But a lot, I would say the Spanish regulator in particular wasn't really keen to really read the disclaimers or bother to go through the registration process and see that actually EU customers could not register under that promotion. And we kept getting letters and inquiries. Everything was sorted out. And, you could easily demonstrate that this is not aimed for European clients and it's for Latin America and so on. But the confusion, because it was the same brand, sort of kept coming up. So in the end, we decided, okay, we'll make it super clear and super easy for everybody. LBX will be aimed for countries outside of Europe, and Libertex will remain as a brand for our European entities and our European operations. So that clear differentiation, I think, is going to eliminate some of the issues we had where there was some confusion between what companies doing what.
Sure.
We want to be clear, and it's just easier for everybody, including ourselves, our compliance team, and the regulator to understand, okay, this is LBX. It's regulated under Mauritius. Recently we got approval to operate in Colombia as well for LBX.
I see.
Yeah. So we are focusing that brand in that region and other regions. Again, completely separate from our European entity and European regulation. So we're drawing a line and just separating the two just to make it much easier to operate.
That's pretty cool. It's cool that you took that route, and rather than basically migrating and all of this other stuff, because I've been through all of that, and like you said,
it all has a cost, right?
It has an immense cost when you really get down to it.
Yeah,
it has an immense cost. Especially operationally, it has an immense
operational. It's all operational, and you want to maintain a good customer experience.
Yeah.
So just imagine a scenario where we have thousands and thousands of active customers. They're all trading, they have their activity.
Yeah.
And then you need to tell them, oh, guys, we launched a new app. You need to migrate.
By the way, you
By the way.
can't really use this anymore. You have to use this.
Yeah. And you have to, close your trades here. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no point.
Mhm.
And just to make sure everybody has the experience. So for European clients, obviously, what we have is what it is. They're
Mhm.
not going to be able to experience the new brand. However, we are considering introducing some of the new technology and new platforms eventually to the European brand.
That makes sense, of course.
Once it's tested, it's checked, make sure the product is compliant, everything is as per our requirements. With time, we're gonna roll it over here as well. But we don't want to rush into anything. We always play the long game. We want to build and prepare things for the future rather than doing rush decisions and moving things around very quickly and then breaking something that's working. And
Of course.
So
Yeah. I want to jump into talking a little bit more about brand, because I think that's a big thing that you've always been probably focused on.
Well, I'm a CMO, so I sort of
your,
have to.
in your career at Libertex. So your sponsorship with the Kick Sauber F1 team, it's generated a lot of visibility for Libertex. I think we could all agree. But from your side, I wanted to ask, what does this partnership bring to the F1 team specifically? Because we all know sort of the engagement that it brings, and the branding that's there, that's obviously very positive for Libertex and really your customers as well. What does the F1 team get out of it?
Okay, so it's, I would say, not a complicated question, but again, it has a couple of parts.
Sure.
So prior our sponsorship with Sauber, we were working with Bayern Munich for a number of years.
Yes, I can remember. Yes.
And prior to that, we had a number of sponsorships, but I'm just going to list a couple of recent big ones. So Bayern Munich. Before that, back when we were still operating in the UK, we used to work with Tottenham Hotspur, and through those two sponsorships, we had a common partner, another sponsor, which was Audi. So Audi used to work very closely with Tottenham Hotspur.
Nice.
And of course, Audi, as a German brand, they're also a shareholder of Bayern Munich. They own part of the team. So we kept meeting these guys. And then at some point, a couple of years ago, they said, oh, you know what? We're actually getting into F1.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. So what happened is Audi bought Sauber. Now, when our deal with Bayern Munich was coming to an end, we already had those meetings with Audi, and that we wanted to sponsor Audi in F1. Audi is racing from the 2026 season onwards. So for 2025, it was still Sauber. So just because our sponsorship with Bayern ended last year, we had this gap year, which we already onboarded, and we signed a deal with Sauber, and we were sponsoring Sauber for this year. Next week, December 7th, is the last race of this season, and it's the last time Sauber will race as Sauber. And then from next year, 2026 season, it's going to be Audi. So Libertex is one of the few confirmed sponsors for Audi going forward.
Oh, interesting.
And this, what we get and what the team gets is continuity, commitment from a sponsor that, a lot of people might be interested in working with a brand like Audi in F1. But we've already signed with them before they were Audi. We've had a relationship with them from Bayern Munich, and we've collaborated with Audi as a brand.
I see.
From years before. So for them, they know us. They know the type of company we are. They know the type of marketing we do. So it's a comfort element.
Sure.
In a very important transition with a huge, huge investment from Audi's part. The guys at Sauber, who, a lot of the team is transitioning over to Audi, are a great team. They're a great fit for our department, for our marketing ethos. They were very supportive. We do a lot of events, activations globally. F1 gives you that. It's more global than sponsoring a football team.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
no matter how big Bayern Munich is, which is an amazing team, and
Yeah. No, but you're right. Yeah. Of
Mia
course.
San Mia, we love the club. But sponsoring an F1 team can allow us to do activations globally. Everywhere there's a race,
Of course.
if we're interested in that market, we have the option to activate. And each F1 race, in terms of viewership, in terms of attention, it's like a Super Bowl. Imagine having,
You're right. Yeah.
and it's in a lot of the markets that we want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a huge benefit for us. It allows us to take our branding and our activations on the road, to engage with partners, to make our brand more visible around the world. And at the same time, work with a partner, a team that knows who we are, has been working with us for a number of years, and they feel like our ethics, our vision, everything is aligned. I mean, we can draw a lot of parallels between F1 and trading, speed of execution, technology.
Yes.
But I won't bore you with that. The idea for us, it was a very good fit, and with Audi being the only, right now it's the third factory team, full factory, meaning they do the chassis, they do the engine, and with the regulation in F1 changing for 2026, I think they're going to be. I'm not sure they're going to be the number one team, but I think they're going to be competing very aggressively because everybody starts from a level playing field. So anything any other team applied this year, it's going to be, level going forward. And we are very, very confident that they're going to put on a good show and they're going to be competitive. So we're there to support them, and, they will support us with our branding and marketing.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Audi's been in the racing sphere since like the 80s. I mean, 24-hour races, Le Mans,
even before that,
all of these different things.
If you go to Audi F1 project on Instagram, they have some amazing videos about the history, and it's long before that. They've been doing a lot of stuff.
The reason why I maybe had a very passionate view in my face when you said this is because I've driven Audis all my life, and I'm an Audi enthusiast.
Okay.
So I'm like, wait, what? You guys are? I was like, oh, Sauber is now turning into Audi. So I guess two follow-up questions. First, did you get to drive any super cool, really fast Audis in your sort of collaboration with Audi so far? And are you gonna make a cameo in Drive to Survive on Netflix in one of the next seasons?
Well, if the cameras are rolling and I'm around, then I'll pop in. I've driven some cool Audis, actually, even from before. As you know, I'm usually based out of Dubai. Audi had a collaboration with the Dubai Autodrome, so a lot of fancy sports cars from Audi were there. So yeah, I did get to experience that. We've had a preview of some of the upcoming models that are from Audi that are coming out, and some of them are quite interesting. An R8 successor, and all that kind of stuff.
Yes,
sporty stuff.
That is very interesting. What's going to happen after the
R8? But just to be clear, this year so far, our collaboration was with Sauber and fully with Sauber.
Sure.
Of course, Audi is already in the mix. We talk to them, we collaborate with them, but all the brand activation with Audi is happening middle of January onwards, 2026. So there's still a bit of an embargo.
I see. Sorry.
No. It's it is public record that we already sponsoring and we're staying on and all that. But obviously none of the logos have appeared yet on the car. They previewed the 2026 car
I saw it
as a concept car.
I saw it.
But there's no branding on it yet. There's no logos other than, of course, an Audi. So all that's going to be revealed, of course, before the new season starts. And
cool.
We're going to be part of that, and we're going to be present at those events. And if Netflix is around and we're on camera, I'll let you know.
I watched that show, so
I'll
make sure to see if.
But you know what? A lot of people watched that show.
Yeah.
F1 viewership ballooned by hundreds of millions of people, and that was another reason why we decided maybe it's a time to evolve and move away from football and into F1. Just because that's what draws a lot of people now, a lot of a big audience. And since again, as a regulated brand, we can mostly do branding.
Yeah.
That's as big of the branding platform as you can get.
Yeah, you're right. And like you said, it's the Super Bowl of auto racing taking place in different countries during the season or during the year.
Yeah,
So
many
it
times
makes
over.
total sense.
So
I guess one of my last questions then is to continue on this topic. How do you bring the new F1 sponsorship to life, let's say, for your customers and your audience and your partners?
sure.
Can you talk a little bit about some, let's say, customer special experiences, campaigns that you're going to do
Sure.
down the line
Well,
to really kind of connect Libertex, the brand, F1 as
sure.
racing, and then your corporate culture as well? Like you said, your commitment to traders, your commitment to authenticity, everything else.
Sure. So right off the bat, let me just clarify. As a branding vehicle to benefit our marketing and our exposure, to make sure the brand is visible, it's something we heavily use. So it's not just, you don't just put a sticker on a car that goes around fast. All the money that we spend in getting the sponsorship, we need to spend maybe, I don't know, multiple times more in activating the sponsorship.
Of course.
The F1 experience, on the hospitality side, attending races and so on, unfortunately, that's not meant for our customers. We do not invite customers. We do not incentivize customers. We don't offer them, a trip to F1.
Sure.
We don't do that kind of stuff. Even though, I'm not going to name names, but I've seen some companies doing it. We don't do that. We don't want to offer trinkets or experiences to customers just to get them to trade with us. That's not what we do. However, partners, business partners, technology providers, those people, they do get the benefit of being able to be our guests and attend. And we try to use those events to activate and elevate our brand. Something we do, we've done a couple of times already during Monaco, which is one of the more glamorous, I would say, Grand Prix and historical Grand Prix. We combine that with a big event that we host. So we did it. You can find it online. We took this approach which combines F1 and the glamour of Monaco. We parked a supercar on a super yacht.
Oh, I've seen that.
I've
seen that video.
The Bugatti on the super yacht. That was us. But again, we try to be very subtle about the branding. So, on that case with the Bugatti, and last year actually we had a McLaren. If you notice, we don't wrap the whole car in our logo, because then it feels like an advertisement and people don't respond to that. The plate number on the car was a Libertex logo. That's it. And some subtle branding around the boat. But having a supercar on a super yacht in Monaco during Grand Prix, all the major TV networks were there. Thousands and thousands of people were there with their cameras, because it is an Instagrammable
event. Yeah, of course.
The brand went viral. I can tell you the amount of exposure we got out of that 3-day weekend for our brand globally, right? It was trending everywhere. I couldn't spend enough money to buy that
amount of
exposure
and traffic.
And again, like I said, so it was a huge benefit for the company, huge recognition for the brand. It helped us penetrate markets where we had to spend thousands and thousands, maybe millions of dollars to get that sort of brand awareness. But it was while we're hosting a party for our partners on a nice boat during Monaco, during the Grand Prix. And we sort of piggybacked on the whole experience. We had F1 drivers from Sauber showing up along with the team before the race, of course, engaging with some of our partners. So that builds, it's a very nice experience.
Of course.
So if you have a business partner, if you have publishers that you work with, and we had guys from, many different companies showing up. We had people from Meta, people from Facebook, from Google showing up. There's people we work with. We pay them money, obviously, to buy services from them.
Sure.
But we expect a good service. So once you build those relationships and they come to your events and you form that kind of bond, it just makes it easier to do business as well going forward.
Absolutely.
So it's a win-win.
Makes sense. I guess to wrap things up, Marios is obviously Greek. Marios obviously lived in Cyprus before.
Yeah,
You still do?
I was born in Cyprus. I'm Cypriot. Since 2006, I moved to Hong Kong and then on to Dubai. So my kids were born in Dubai. I've spent a huge amount of time there. I consider it my second home.
Uh-huh.
But now because of work, I travel quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
So we have offices in different places. And because of my role, I need to,
Be here, be there.
be everywhere.
Uh-huh.
So we do have our European headquarters in Cyprus. So I do visit and spend as much time as needed, meeting my colleagues from the senior management and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But Cyprus, of course, is my home country.
Yeah.
I love Cyprus. I try to holiday here as much as I can.
Okay.
But unfortunately, my work takes me in other places as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, my question was going to be, Marios is obviously still a very young man, but when Marios is going to retire, would Marios move back to Cyprus permanently to retire and kind of...
Unfortunately, well, I do have a residence here.
Uh-huh.
I have a house here. And like I said, in the summer, my kids, we spend a lot of time in Cyprus. But at the same time, I have other places that I like to visit.
Uh-huh.
And I think at the end of the day, by the time I'm retired,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's only going to be Cyprus.
Okay.
I think I'll migrate depending on the season. I'll follow the nice weather, let's say.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I mean, I've been doing that since I moved to Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, the summer there is brutal. It's very hot. So
Sure.
as soon as the kids' school closed, we were on a plane. We would
Come
to Cyprus, go to Greece, anywhere we could.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still warm, right, in the summer.
Yeah,
but it's more enjoyable.
It's bearable.
Yeah, it's bearable.
Let's put it that.
So I think in my retirement one day, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to follow the nice weather, listen to what my wife wants to do as well.
Sure, that is also important.
And I would say very important.
Very important.
But just try and enjoy life. But hopefully by the time we retire, it's going to be more clear about where we're going to spend more time.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, Marios, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule.
Well, thank you for having me.
For speaking to us. I know we covered a lot of topics. All the best to you, to LBX, to Libertex Group, in all your efforts, and hopefully we'll see you on Netflix.
We'll definitely do.
Thanks.